You know, man, you are really encouraging me, motivating me, inspiring me. God is really you.
What's going on, family? You guys are so amazing. I'm Mr. Aos Inspires. I want to welcome you, each and every one of you, to Aos The Podcast. Now, listen, we've started at an amazing rate. I want to say thank you to each and every one of you guys that has subscribed to our podcast. Our episode 2, which was our first full episode, really, got off to a great start. I got some amazing feedback. Got some new things that I'm going to deliver this week for you guys because I heard your feedback and I greatly appreciate it. This is what I want you to do. If there's any feedback, like, hey, this podcast is bananas, I love it, leave a comment, leave a message, inbox us. All the above, because your feedback really helps us move and navigate as a unit, as a team, as a company, so that we can further give you the message and also videos that will help you get to that next level. I love you guys. You guys are so amazing. So let me go ahead and do the preliminaries real fast, because I told you this is a dialogue. As I said last week, if I had a guest, I would introduce the guest, ask them how their day was. So I'm gonna start with you guys. How was your day this week? How was your week this week? How has everything been going? For us, it's just been a roller coaster. I mean, I've been excited. Why? Because we released a new podcast. The podcast is doing some fantastic numbers. I see you guys downloading. Let me do a pause right quick. Let me just pause. If you're on Spotify, go ahead and subscribe. If you're on Anchor, go ahead and subscribe. Apple Podcasts, subscribe, download. And also, if you're on iHeartRadio, that's a big one for us, iHeartRadio. We've been getting a lot of love on iHeartRadio. The hours and the listen time has been bananas. Salute to all of you guys. Also, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, and also YouTube. Go ahead and hit the subscribe button now. Stay connected, because this is what I want to share with you. Content that we drop on Facebook, we don't drop on TikTok. You see what I'm saying? So the content is different. So I need you to follow us on all platforms. But let's get started on today. Last week we talked about something edgy, and I'm doing something different. I'm using AOS notes, right? So I'm doing some content stack up. So each week we're going to drop at least 2 AOS notes, about 10 to 15 minute videos that's on a specific topic to help you navigate through life, whatever it is, relationship. And this year, our team, we sat down and talked. This year, we're going to use this year to focus on relationships. Now, I have some guests coming in, so we're going to deviate from that topic a little bit, but it's still going to be in the rim and also the spectrum of relationships. But this year, we're going to stick with relationships. I heard you guys talk. You guys gave me feedback. Like, this is what I needed. Somebody called me and was like, hey, can I chat with you for a little while? So, we exchanged numbers. We chatted for a little while, and they were like, listen, you have no clue how your last week's podcast helped me. So we're going to stay in that lane real fast. And this is the thing. This is how we built our following on Facebook. Built off of relationship advice. People were like, hey, when you going back to it? We need it, bruh. So here it is. You asked, we delivered. Here it is. So this week, if you're on YouTube, you already see the thumbnail, right? If you're on iHeartRadio, whatever you're listening to, wherever you're listening to this podcast at, you already see the topic. And it's crazy because a lot of people have issues with it. Let's keep it all the way funky. We're going all the way in. We're going all the way deep in on today. Why? Because I don't want you dating just to date. So the podcast topic on today, am I ready to date? I don't want you to date just to say, hey, I'm dating somebody. I want to give you some practical tools. I want to give you some practical principles that you can start implementing so that you can, really navigate through this dating life, right? And I want you to watch this. I want you to date in a healthy manner. Many of you and it's crazy because we were taught, right? And subconsciously, we're taught how to get divorced. Right? You date somebody in high school and things don't go right. You leave them and you find somebody else. So subconsciously, we have been taught how to get divorced. And I believe that's why the divorce rate is so bananas. 2 reasons. Because we've been taught how to divorce early, but then also we have not been taught how to date properly. Like many of you get into relationships, we're about to get started. Many of you get in relationships because she fine or he look good or he got money or her curves is like crazy, but we don't realize that if we don't use what is necessary to sustain that lifestyle financially, it's going to get depleted. And also if she don't stay in the gym, them curves is going to turn into wide lows. Let's really be honest and all the way real. But we don't look at the things, we look at things that's dissolvable. Right? And many people look at things that's dissolvable as if it's a feature or the element that, this is the reason why I'm getting this relationship. She fine. But she ain't gonna be fine all her life. I promise you. When she gets old or she gets older and you see somebody younger, it's gonna be like, hold on. Now you have something to compare it to, right? If that was the foundation, now let me clear that up because some of y'all be like, nah, bro, I got into the relationship with my wife or my woman and my guy because I loved them and they were perfect fit for me. I'm not talking about that situation. I'm talking about when you build your relationship on a foundation of she fine, he got money, she has money, because you got some guys that look, females that got money, look for a come up, right? We're gonna talk about it all today in the podcast. So let's go ahead and get started. This is what I want you to do. I want you to ask yourself a few things before you start dating. I get it. You want somebody to be in relationship with. Now, let me put a prerequisite here. I'm not talking about for those that say that I just want the opposite sex company. That's not what I'm saying. That's cool. I get it. Sometimes you just like, I just want to hang out with, with somebody that I don't know and just have conversation, have dialogue. My friends are cool. Family members are cool, but I want to hang with the opposite sex and just kick it with the full lip. I get it. I'm not talking to you guys. Yeah, I may talk to you guys another time. But today I'm talking to people that look for people that they want to get into relationship with. All right, so here it is. These are the few questions, things that you need to ask yourself. Let's start with this. Why am I dating? It's a big one. Are you serious? Like, let's really be honest. Why am I dating? And why am I dating? Am I dating because I need somebody? I'm lonely. I'm gonna talk about that in a minute as well. Am I dating because everybody's pressuring me? Watch this. This is a crazy one. Everybody's pressuring me to get into a relationship. Like, why am I thinking about getting into a relationship in the place and the state of life that I'm in? Why? Like, what is your why? Like, whatever it is that you do in life, you need to ask yourself that crazy question. Why? I want to be a millionaire. Why? I want to be a billionaire. Why? I want to get into a relationship. Why? Watch this. I want to have kids. Why? Like, right? Ask yourself these questions before you start diving deep into certain things in certain areas of your life. Ask yourself why. All right. Second one. This is a big one for a lot of people. Some of y'all gonna log off real fast, and some of y'all just gonna be like, you know what? Let me share this so he can hear this because he need to hear this. Am I ready to commit? That's a big. Many of you have prepaid phones because you have commitment issues. Let's really be all the way funky in this podcast today. Aos The Podcast. Many of you have prepaid phones. Many of you don't do contracts. Many of you, and this is not even relationships. This is just life. Like, you have an issue. And listen, many of you don't want to be honest, but if you really be honest, you be like, yo, I do have commitment issues. Like, I don't want, like that's the reason why I don't sign contracts. That's the reason why I don't have no credit cards. I have commitment issues. And really, and let's keep it honest. It's cool. If you say, listen, I fit in that category where I have commitment issues, that's fine. Be honest with yourself. Because this is the damaging part. Many of you know about your flaws, but you're still moving forward into relationships, knowing that you have this flaw, knowing that it's going to come up later in the relationship. Like, knowing that she's going to look at it like, hold on, bro, why you didn't tell me in the beginning? Many of you have faulty sensors as it pertains to your relationship status in the area of commitment. That was deep. Bars. Every time we say something deep in this podcast, we're going to say bars, all right? Maybe we'll switch to something else better. But, but for right now, many of you have commitment issues. And now you just sweep it on the rug. Why? Because I just want somebody close by. I just want somebody I can hug on. I want somebody that I can be affectionate with. Watch this. This is a big one. Many people get into relationships. Why? Because they want somebody that they can treat good. Let me put a DJ's Clues bomb in this thing right quick. Treat yourself good. Many of you, and it's crazy because many of you put yourself on the back burner. Like, let's really be all the way. Many of you are at a place in your life, or you're this type of person where you'll put somebody else before you. Yeah, I'm gonna do this so that they can have this car, or they can have this money right here so they can eat every day, go out to eat, because I know they like to go out to eat. What about you? Do you like to go out to eat? Now, many of you have been raised that thinking about you is selfish. No, it's not. That's called self-care. I need you to have you better have some self-care, because there's people in the world that sees that you have a good heart, right? Many of my listeners have amazing hearts. I'm being honest with you, got a good heart. Like, that's big part of your issue. Your heart is too big. And I know you're not, hold on, I thought we were supposed to have you are supposed to have a big heart. But your heart is way too big. And when I say that, meaning that you will put other people's needs, desires, that's a big one, needs, desires, and wants above yours. That's not the area that I want you to horn in on. Like, put you first. You need somebody to treat you good. Period. Like, really get to the space where you're like, yo, I'm gonna treat myself good. I'm gonna love on myself. And that's what I want you to get to. I want you to love on yourself before you put somebody else in a space where they are above you. You're taking care of their needs first. You're taking care of their wants. You're taking care of their desires. You're taking care of everything that I would like this. You putting them first. Put yourself first. But then ask yourself, am I ready to commit? Am I ready to commit to somebody? Now, I get it. Now, we're talking about dating. We're not talking about marriage right now. That's for a totally different podcast. That's bananas. I think that's like week 5, right? Week 5? Yeah. I think that's week 5. Episode 5. We're going to talk about marriages. Am I ready to get married? But this is just dating. But am I ready to commit? I know you're saying, hold on, you're talking about dating. Why are you saying, am I ready to commit? Why is that a question? The reason it's a question because you need to see, am I ready to commit if the relationship goes this far? That's why I say it's a difference between just hanging with the opposite sex or hanging with the person and dating. So that's a major difference. Dating comes with commitment and expectation. Right? Like, it's the expectation to say, I'm going to get to know you real fast to see if this will work, if you're a match for me. Like, that's what dating is. I'm going to see if you are a perfect fit in my spectrum. And vice versa. Let me see if I'm a perfect fit in your spectrum. That's dating. Just hanging out. Now, I'm not saying y'all just hanging out. Listen, we're gonna hang out. I'm going to put a few drinks up in you. Then you'll come back to my crib and we're going to Netflix and chill. Nah, that's not what I'm saying. Right? I want you to date in a healthy manner. And I'm going to do another podcast. And you know what? No, I'm not going to do a podcast. I'm going to do an AOS notes about sex. Because many of you are getting into a relationship, she fine, or you get to a situationship. Let's leave dating on the side right quick. Many of you just want to hang with the opposite sex. You want to hang with somebody just to smash, just to have sex, right? And it clouds your judgment. And I think that in this generation it's crazy because one night stands are going up. Like, you meet somebody and then, you catch a vibe, right? Listen, y'all know what I'm talking about. You catch a vibe with somebody, you like somebody for real, and it's like, yo, this person is dope. And now you're ready to lay down with them. Not asking the question, have you ever had something before? Have you ever had an STD before? Like not even thinking about, listen, let me wait till I get married. They ain't even thinking about that. What they're thinking about is, I gotta relieve something now. Right? And many of you just hang out just to relieve something right now. Not asking the question. It's crazy because when I was growing up, that was one of the scares. They said, listen, don't lay down with somebody for 5 minutes of pleasure and have a lifetime of pain. Like, I think that has been exploded now in this instant world that we live in because we feel, okay, you got plan Bs, you got pills for this, you got pills for that, and you thinking that everything can be a pill and dissolve. No, that's not true. You can get something that you can't get rid of at all. Is it worth it? Let's get back. Dating. Are you ready to commit? This is the same one. Am I dating for sex? For a come up? Or am I dating because I'm lonely? How many people, right? Many females, many of y'all can raise your hand and be like, yo, I know what you're talking about. I've met so many guys that just want to date for sex or come up or because they're lonely. Met a lot of females. I know some of the guys can raise their hand like, bro, I got that testimony too. I've met a lot of females that want to date for sex, come up, or just because they're lonely. Those are 3 areas that you're building a false foundation on. And the truth of the matter is, you could be a dope person. You could be like perfect match. But your intentions is building a foundation that's faulty. I don't think that people are ready to digest that yet. Why? Because their intentions on why they're dating, they think is okay. When you think something is okay, you'll find no issue in it. None. Should I date because I just want to have sex? No. Should I date because I'm lonely? Absolutely not. I met so many people that was like, yo, I don't want to be lonely, you know what I mean? Listen, go love on yourself. Now, this is a big one that I want you to understand and digest. Hear me when I tell you, hear me well. It's impossible for you, 2 reasons. I know you heard this one reason, but you never heard this one. It's impossible for you to love somebody correctly and for somebody to love you correctly when you don't love yourself correctly. Wow, bars. It's impossible. Like, how can you love somebody else right and you don't love you? Or how can somebody else love you right and you don't love you? Because you're going to be insecure about everything. Why? Because you don't love you. Soon as somebody give you a comment, dang, you beautiful. You be like, you just saying that because you want something. Insecure. Love you first, man. Like, love you. Like, get to know your true loves, likes, dislikes, red flags. And this is a big one that's not in my notes, but I got to tell y'all, you need to get to know what is your line that you don't cross. Like, what is your red flag that you're like, yo, this is unacceptable. I won't go above. No. If you got this, no. Many of you are compromising your unacceptables. Why? Because I want somebody there. I want this love. I want this affection. I just want somebody I can text every morning. Text yourself every morning. Good morning, handsome. Bing. Good morning, handsome. Right? Text it to yourself. Good morning, beautiful. Bing. Good morning, beautiful. Text it to yourself. Like, many of you, it's crazy. Many of you want somebody else to do something that you can do yourself. Because watch this, and this is what I tell my daughters. When you love you, you don't look for somebody else to validate you. Preach, boy. When you love you and when you look at yourself in a way, you don't look for somebody else to look at you in that way that you look at yourself. Like, if you look at me the same way that I view myself, that's nothing but a compliment. Cool, thanks. But I don't look at that as validation. All right, let's move on. This is a big one. Am I prepared to handle a relationship if it goes to the next level? Like, many of you get in a relationship, but you're not ready. Many of you get into a relationship. I get it. You're dating and you're seeing. This is just a trial moment. Now, let me slow this truck down. Yeah, remember what I said last week, where when you meet somebody, you don't meet them, you meet their representative. 9 times out of 10, when you meet somebody, you're not meeting the real them. You're meeting their representative. You're meeting somebody who they want you to see, not who they really want you to know. Right? Because if you meet their real them, you're like, oh, hold on, you got an attitude problem? Wait a minute. You got an anger issue? Wait a minute. You bad with money? They don't want you to see that. They want you to see the person that seems to be a perfect picture. That's what they want you to see. Listen, you never went on a first date and you were like, wow, this person is dope, right? The real them. You're not going to meet the real them. So that's the big one. Am I prepared to handle this relationship if it goes to the next level, right? Now, if I'm hanging out, I'm not expecting nothing to go to the next level. But if I'm dating both parties, right? Like, you're expecting something from, okay, if I call you and say, hey, listen, let's go on a date. I'm not going to do that. I'm married, right? But if I call you, hypothetically speaking, if I call you and say, let's go on a date, right? We go on a date. You're expecting something and I'm expecting something, right? We're expecting something from this exchange. And especially if it goes to a second date, I'm expecting something from this exchange. I'm not talking about sex. I'm not talking about money. I'm just saying I'm expecting something. Like, if you go out with someone and they're dope and like everything was great at dinner, they said the right things, you like the same things, it's just they're beautiful, he's handsome. I mean, they are just like you like it. Your expectation goes up. You're expecting something now, especially when it goes to the second day, third day, fourth day, a month. Now, I'm not saying that you're like, yo, I'm ready to get married now, bro. I'm ready. Nah, I'm not saying that. But you have some expectations, right? Now, with those expectations, let's look at it, listeners. Am I ready to handle this relationship if it goes to the next level? Am I ready to handle it financially? I told you guys on last week, don't compare your relationship or your situationship, should I say, because if you're dating, it's just a situationship. That's not your relationship just yet. But don't compare. You know, I was watching on Facebook, my good friend, I'm not gonna call his name, but my good friend that I used to go to high school, we used to be in high school, I used to be tight, it was my guy, right? And I see him and his wife, they go here, they go there, vacation, you know, and I'm not saying no shade against him, right? Nothing, right? But I'm using this as an example, but I'm looking, I'm like, man, that's dope, man, they going this, they going that. Now, when we go places, we really don't, you know, sometimes we'll share videos, sometimes we don't, right? We're kind of private. I'm not private at all. My wife, she's really private. I'm not private at all. Like, I'm an open book. Right? I want you to get the real, period. But I see like, man, they going places. Like, they going places, right? Then I met somebody else. They're going places too. But this is what I've discovered, because when you start to compare, they going somewhere, we ain't going nowhere. But you don't know that they trip off of Groupon. You didn't know that they got their trip for free. Somebody gifted them a trip. It just looks like they're going to a lot of places, right? They always somewhere. Yeah, people are giving it to them. Or watch this. This is another plug. They're doing, you know how when you go somewhere and they say, listen, we'll let you stay here for 3 days for $100, but you just got to stay through the seminar so that you can take, you know, just in case if you want to buy a timeshare, right? Something like that. This is set up like that. And you're comparing, they going places. And I ain't going nowhere. I'm not going anywhere. Use correct English, right? I'm not going anywhere. But they got that stuff for free. For a hundo. That's why I say stop comparing, right? But ask yourself, am I ready to handle this relationship if it goes to the next level? Am I ready to handle it financially? That's a big one. Am I ready to handle this relationship financially if it transitions to the next level? Am I ready to deal? Watch this. Am I ready to deal with this thing to be stable? Now, am I stable enough? Am I stable to handle this relationship? That's one thing that we need to really focus on. Like, I need you to stop living second by second, hour by hour, date by date. No. Because what's damaging is you're not letting your real intentions be known up front. So now listen, I think that, let me say this because I may save some people's lives. One thing I've discovered is you never play with somebody's emotion. Just me saying that was enough for you to share, like, and just post this video on your page, period. Nobody likes their emotions played with. If you do a report, Google how many people got killed because they played with somebody's emotions. I guarantee you 1 million stories will pop up. I guarantee you. You don't play with people's emotions. That's why I say that both people have an expectation of the relationship if it gets to the next level, right? But by you not letting your expectations be known up front, your expectation, like, I just want to have somebody that I can go out to eat with, text every day to say, how you doing? Just check on, love on, and that's it. I don't want to move in together. I don't want to get married. I don't want to go on trips together. I don't want that. I just want somebody that when I had a long day, I can talk to, like my best friend, but somebody I can be intimate with as well. You're not